Hello everyone, Mr. Daydream here. Welcome to the show. You know, call it an unpopular opinion, but I honestly don't understand why celebrities get all the attention. I mean, I get that they're valued in whatever field they specialize in, but nowadays they're just more or less being used as a glorified tool for advertisement. This product must be good because a celebrity who's been paid to promote it said so. I've grown tired of these commercials over the years. They just feel manipulative. I mean, every now and then it makes sense if the product has some correlation to the celebrity promoting it, but for the most part, you could literally get anyone and it wouldn't make a difference. They're all interchangeable. To me, their presence doesn't really add anything to the product. It could be terrible for all we know, and they'll still tell us it's amazing. I also find it very appropriate how they typically get actors for this kind of stuff, because as we all know, they're experts when it comes to hiding their true feelings on the subject matter.
And cut.
But I'm not here to talk about that. Today I'm going to be discussing the current issue that's currently plaguing the world of animation, and that is actors, but the expensive kind. Now listen up. If you're going to make a big budget animated movie for the big screen, then it is imperative that you get A-list actors involved in the project. For some reason. Yeah, that's the part I don't really get. To me, an actor is someone who performs in live-action movies. A voice actor is someone who performs in animation, whether it's cartoons, anime, or video games. Having an actor do a voice actor's job just sounds backwards to me. Now, to be fair, celebrities having voice roles in anime movies is nothing new. It has been done for a long time. But man, now it's become so heavily dependent to where it feels like an animated movie simply cannot exist without their inclusion. Now, I'm not saying I hate it when a celebrity is voicing an animated character, because there is a number of them I genuinely enjoy. Like Tom Hanks and Tim Allen as Woody and Buzz, Mike Myers as Shrek, Jack Black as Poe, and Johnny Depp as Rango. It's also very common for celebrities to make guest appearances in animated TV shows, like The Simpsons or Rick and Morty, for example. My only problem is when those are the only people you ever get with these movies, and I wouldn't mind it as long as it makes sense, but when it doesn't, it does not bode very well with me. One of the most bizarre news regarding voice roles is for the animated Super Mario movie. Seriously, the casting alone had people in stitches. I'm not sure if that's a good sign or not. But anyways, what I found truly baffling was how they chose Chris Pratt to be the voice of Mario.
First, of course, is Mario, who will be played by Chris Pratt.
Why? I get that he's famous for being in Jurassic World and Guardians of the Galaxy, but what does that have to do with Mario? I don't see the connection at all. Was there really somebody out there who dreamed of seeing Star-Lord voice an Italian plumber craving lots of spaghetti? Sounds more like a fever dream if you ask me. And now he's going to voice Garfield as well? Reality is one big fever dream. Another thing that's rather odd is how Chris Pratt assured fans that he has been practicing his Mario voice to be as good as possible. And I'm just sitting here thinking, why make him go through such an unnecessary challenge? Why not just get Charles Martinet to do the job instead? You know, the guy who has perfected the most iconic voice in video game history for over 30 freaking years? You're telling me that even after all that, it's still not enough to warrant a starring role for a big screen animated feature film? Instead, all he gets is a cameo.
And of course, Charles Martinet, who has voiced Mario and many more Nintendo characters in our games over the years, is also involved and will be appearing in surprise cameos in the movie.
I don't know about you, but that's tragically depressing. Speaking of which, there's also the animated Scooby-Doo movie called Scoob. What's really upsetting to me is that, with the exception of Frank Welker, none of the original voice actors from any of the animated shows are voicing their characters in the movie. Yeah, Instead, they got a bunch of famous actors in their place. I'm sorry, but did anyone really ask for this? None of these people have ever voiced any of these characters before in their entire career. So what flippin' sense does it make to get them in the first place? Zac Efron as Fred Jones? Really? Were these people chosen by a slot machine or something? I find it absolutely degrading how if you have a cartoon show or a video game series, then you can get voice actors to do the roles as you wish. However, if said cartoon or video game were to get a movie for the big screen, then too bad. You can't star in it. You're not a celebrity. They're the only ones who are allowed now. Can they do a good job nailing the voices? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant as long as we can put their names on the poster. This makes absolutely no sense. If you grew up with a cartoon, wouldn't you be disappointed if the original cast are not involved in the movie? I certainly would. I'd be like, who the heck are these people? Why are they here? What happened to the beloved voices I grew up with? I don't even know what's going on anymore. Ah! When did voice acting in animation become so misguided? Even though it's called voice acting and you're expected to provide a wide array of voices, that's simply not the case if you're a famous actor. You wouldn't even have to try in that department. For example, there's this one movie called Detective Pikachu that's about a talking Pikachu being a detective. Alright, there's actually more to it than just that, but it's a close enough summary. I did see the movie and really enjoyed it. Though the only thing I didn't necessarily like is the voice of Ryan Reynolds coming out of Pikachu.
Whoa. Did you just understand me?
Oh my god, you can understand me!
Seriously, not at all how I imagine that Pokemon to sound like if it were to talk. It does not sound natural or convincing. Who thought that was a good choice? I actually wouldn't have minded if it was Danny DeVito. And I know some people out there are gonna be like, Mr. Daydream, it's Ryan Reynolds, he's Deadpool, isn't that awesome? So, what does any of that have to do with Pokemon? There has to be a compelling reason why they chose him of all people for the role. I don't care if he played some popular character unrelated to this. I just want him to nail the voice of Pikachu. That's it. And I'm sorry, but this did not work for me. Because I don't hear Pikachu talking at all. All I hear is Ryan Reynolds, which is really distracting. Now I can somewhat understand why they went with his default voice for the character because, spoiler alert, it turns out that he's actually the main character's father. His consciousness got transferred to a Pikachu by Mewtwo in order to save him, and in the end, his father is back to normal. But even so, couldn't he just do a voice for Pikachu, then use his normal voice for when he's back in his original body? It would make much more sense that way, I think. I don't know, it just sounds jarring for this cute little thing to sound exactly like an adult male human. I don't find that adorable, I just find that bizarre and off-putting. Speaking of which, there's this new Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie available on Disney's streaming service. Disney Minus, I think? I don't know. Where am I going with this? But as weird as the trailer is, it does sound like a really interesting idea. Like, it almost looks like a spiritual successor to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, except it's about these two chipmunks. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. If you had to choose two people to voice these two lovable critters, it'll be none other than John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. Isn't that the first thing that comes to our minds? But what's really baffling is that whoever is responsible for this ultimately made the decision to not give Chip and Dale their iconic high-pitched voices. Because how are the audience supposed to tell that it's John Mulaney and Andy Samberg voicing the characters? Why, that's the sole reason you wanted to see this movie, right? Ah! Like seriously, if you're given the role to voice a cute little character, don't you think that maybe you should attempt to give it a cute voice? I mean, who the heck looks at something like this and expect it to sound like this?
Life is the worst, which is why you need good insurance.
Ugh, what the heck? That's not cute at all. That's just jarring and weird. In Voice Acting 101, that's a major fail, but because it's a celebrity, it's all good apparently. Listen, just because it's a famous actor's voice doesn't mean it can instantly fit any character like a glove. You gotta act on it! I have another similar problem with the animated movie DC League of Super Pets, which features Crypto the Super Dog and Ace the Bat Hound. Now obviously, if you were to pick two people to voice these two doggies, it'll be none other than Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart. Seriously, the casting makes no sense, and once again, they use their default voice for the characters. I don't mind casting famous actors to do voice acting, but you need to make it to where it's not painfully obvious who the voices are. It's uninspired, uncreative, and most importantly, disappointing. But to be honest, Dwayne Johnson as Crypto is not that bad actually. But Kevin Hart as Ace?
Yeah, I'm not really great with people, probably because of my traumatic puppyhood.
Not a good choice. Maybe it's because I saw the cartoon show, but I was really hoping he would have a really cool voice, like, yeah, I am the knight. But instead, he sounds exactly like Kevin Hart. Just what I've always wanted! I honestly don't understand the double standard here. If it's a voice actor, they're expected to provide a voice that suits a character perfectly. But if it's a famous actor, they can just use their default voice and nothing else. Why do celebrities get a pass for not even trying? This isn't even voice acting anymore. It's just voicing, but without the acting. I don't necessarily mind seeing studios giving roles to famous actors in animation, but it's starting to get to the point to where I'm getting sick and tired of seeing their names over and over again. Isn't it enough that these people already star in live-action movies and earn millions in doing so? Do they really need to hog the spotlight in the world of animation as well? Why not give voice actors a chance and fame? This isn't live action, it's animation. Actors are not mandatory in this. It's just not that special anymore when you constantly see the same celebrity in an animated movie. It's starting to lose its novelty, to be honest. It went from being, oh my goodness, they got this famous actor to do voice work in this movie, to, oh, it's this guy again. That's cool, I guess. It really started to bother me how frequent I was seeing Keegan-Michael Key, for example. First I saw that he was in that new Hotel Transylvania movie, to which I was like, okay, fair enough, he was in the previous two movies, so it only makes sense he would be in this one as well. Then I saw that he's going to be in the animated Super Mario movie, voicing Toad of all characters. Okay, I'm not sure how to feel about that, but who knows, he's quite talented, so he might be able to make it work. Then I saw that he's also going to voice a character in that weird Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie. Hasn't this guy gotten enough roles already? Then not too long after that, he's voicing yet another character in the live-action remake of Pinocchio. Slow down! Take it easy, will you? It's getting to the point to where he's starting to overstay his welcome in the world of animation. He's getting more voice roles than most voice actors. Now, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not saying that I dislike him. In fact, I find him to be a really hilarious guy. My gripe is that it doesn't seem fair that actors can not only star in live-action movies, but in animated ones as well. Meanwhile, voice actors can only provide work in animation, whether it's cartoons, anime, or video games. But seeing as how they're slowly getting replaced by celebrities, it's only going to get more and more difficult for these people to find any kind of work in order to sustain themselves. That's just sad, man. By the way, before you say it, yes, Pinocchio is a live-action movie, not an animated one. But with the sheer amount of CG Disney has been using in its remakes, can it really be classified as such anymore? I really hate how celebrities have become heavily prioritized in the world of animation. And it doesn't even make any sense. I mean, really, who the heck watches an animated movie just because a famous actor is voicing one of the characters? That's like paying money to go on a cruise ship just so you can play a game of shuffleboard. I don't think I've ever seen an anime movie solely because it has celebrities tied to it. No! The main reason I want to go see an animated movie is for the animation. Isn't that the whole point? Because if that's not the main focus, then why bother making it animated in the first place? Now, I'm not saying that animation is all you need for your movie. You do need other factors such as having an interesting story, setting, characters, and all these other things in order for the film to have more structure and more substance. And if your movie has dialogue, you do need voice actors, it goes without saying. But why does it always have to be famous actors? It's really not that necessary. It just seems like overkill, to be honest. It's like instead of hiring a gardener to water your plants, you get the fire department to come do it. Nowadays, every single major character in an animated movie absolutely has to be voiced by a celebrity, even if it doesn't make a lick of sense. It's like, who cares? They're famous, aren't they? Isn't that enough? You can't just get talented voice actors to do the job instead. What are you, nuts? If you want a famous actor to voice an animated character for some reason, that's fine. But it has to make sense. It should be to where when I see who they got to star in this project, I should be like, oh my goodness, that makes it all the more better. But if I'm baffled by the celebrity choices to where I'm more perplexed than excited, you done goofed. Pauly Shore's Pinocchio? Really? What kind of nutcracker did you get your head lodged in to become this nuts?
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
It really feels like celebrities aren't chosen because they can put up an amazing performance, but more so of they're popular. That's it. Go see the movie. There was a promotional tweet for Space Jam 2 that I found rather depressing. It was when they were showing off the cast for the movie. Notice anything odd? Yeah. For some reason, it was absolutely necessary to point out that Lola Bunny is voiced by Zendaya, but not those who are responsible for voicing these other beloved cartoon characters. They apparently don't matter as much as this one. It's such a crying shame how voice actors are being mistreated. They seem undervalued and underappreciated. They are forever stuck having to voice minor characters, background characters, as well as provide the sound effects of crying, which were conveniently sampled from them when they were sitting by the dumpster behind the studio with a lit cigarette during their break. It's gotten to the point to where celebrities are practically treated as the main selling point to a lot of these movies, and I can't help but feel like there's a cynical part of Hollywood where they think that's somehow an incredible feat. Like, isn't it amazing that we got this overpaid actor to be the voice of a fictional character in this animated feature film? Golly gee. And I hate to say this, but no, it's not that impressive. It really isn't. Because the thing about celebrities, especially if they're actors, is that you can practically get them in anything as long as you wave a giant paycheck in front of their faces. You could make the absolute worst movie ever made and still round up a herd of A-list actors into the project by luring them with the essence of fat stacks. Movie 43 is living proof of that. And sometimes having a cast of celebrities is not enough to save a movie. Prime example, Arctic Dogs. Despite having a somewhat low budget for an animated movie, it had a surprisingly strong cast, such as Jeremy Renner, James Franco, Alec Baldwin, and more. But despite them gracing the movie with their all-powerful presence, it still was not enough to save the movie from not only becoming a box office bomb, but having the worst opening of all time in over 28,000 theaters. Correction, that would be incredibly nuts, but it's actually 2,800, not 28,000. I counted myself as the extra zero. My bad. And it's not like the movie is an underrated piece of media that's destined to become a cult classic. No, it was lambasted to oblivion. It disappointed people more than I disappointed my parents. Well, shucks, I guess celebrities don't have the power to automatically save a movie from becoming a stinker. Who would have known? And I'm for certain that if they had voice actors do the job instead, they would have blamed the lack of celebrities as the movie's biggest downfall, instead of, oh, I don't know, it really wasn't that good. Overall, I'm not against the idea of having famous actors in animated movies, but it's starting to get really obnoxious, not gonna lie. I feel like they should only be featured as a bonus, not as the starring cast. For an actor, you expect them to act. Where does voicing an animated character come into play? Is that even part of their job description? I really wish they would stop being so heavily dependent on celebrities on such movies. It's not necessary, it's expensive, and it's not helping anyone who isn't an A-list actor. They're essentially getting punished for not being famous. Now I can somewhat understand if it's an animated movie for adults, like Sausage Party for example. Most adults know who these people are, and that might even serve as a selling point to many. But if it's a kids movie, It makes absolutely zero sense why they would invest so much money in something children most likely don't care about. Seriously, do you really think kids want to see an animated movie because it stars someone like, I don't know, Tom Cruise or someone like that? No, they just want to see the movie because it looks colorful and fun. As a kid, that's how I saw movies. It had absolutely nothing to do with celebrities being in it. I could care less about their inclusion. Heck, I couldn't even be bothered to remember their names until I got much older. It just seems like a waste. Their only purpose is to ensure ticket sales to adults. That's it, because adults are unable to enjoy something unless there's some familiarity attached to it, because then they know it must be good. When it comes to famous actors, I honestly wouldn't mind it if it's someone who can voice act. Like Adam Sandler, for example. He's done a number of voice roles where I honestly couldn't tell it was him.
Woody, thank God you're here! We're being robbed by a lunatic! Mister, if you're gonna kill us, take off your wet shoes! They're soaking the carpet!
That's some serious talent. It only bothers me when they use their default voice and nothing else. It's lazy, uninspired, and needlessly expensive for something called voice acting. Like, why is it so imperative for us to know it's them? Can't they at least try a voice instead of making it blatantly obvious? But anyways, thank you very much for attending today, and I hope to see you again. And remember, just because you get the big cheese to promote a certain product doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be divine, because in the end, it still has the possibility to become cheesy. So please, grab a ticket and join me next time. Admission is free. Take care, and have a nice day.